Alright guys, today I'm going to be doing a prediction on the Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao fight that could be happening from the day 5th of May to maybe at the latest, maybe early June. We're not quite sure on the date yet, but a lot Bob Arum and Floyd Mayweather Jr. I've been saying they just need to sign the papers and sort out the share and whatnot, and basically all the legal terms and contracts and whatnot. So I'm just going to do a prediction. I'm not going to go into whether I think it's going to happen or any of the legal side of it. I'm not going to look into what I'm merely doing in this video is just making a prediction on what I think is going to happen and maybe the key facts to look out for during this fight. Alright, so Manny Pacquiao, he's obviously very interesting to watch due to he's got a very good power, and he moves very well and looks quite pleasing on the eye. However, in his last two fights, he's been not very convincing at all. In the Shane Mosley fight, I had him win the fight, but I thought Mosley obviously passed it. He was 39 by the time he fought Pacquiao, so it was an old Shane Mosley, and Pacquiao didn't look convincing at all. Although I had him up on the on my scorecard, don't get me wrong, I thought he looked absolutely dire in that fight. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe it's just a one-off, or maybe he just found Mosley awkward. So then he moved on to his next fight, which happened about, I'm not sure how long, maybe about 3 months ago, against Juan Manuel Marquez. Now, Juan Manuel Marquez is approaching his 39th birthday, I think. So obviously a very old guy, and he's fought Pacquiao twice before and he's lost both times, so you think with the age taken into account and and obviously him losing the last two times, many people thought this was going to be a quick fight for Pacquiao. They thought it was an easy fight and just a money maker. However, Juan Manuel Marquez completely surprised me on the night to the point where I had him up on the scorecards big, and I thought Pacquiao looked dire, absolutely dire in that fight. He looked awful. He didn't get his timing. Marquez was counter-punching all night long and hit him with the straight right, straight down the middle all night, and I don't know what happened to the scorecards. You know, there's that much corruption in boxing, and obviously the promoter, Bob Arum, he's been linked with crooked things before, and many people suggest that he paid him off just so that this fight would happen, and because obviously if he would have lost that fight, then this fight may not have even happened. So a lot of people think that Bob Arum paid off the judges so that this fight would happen and he'd make money off it, obviously. So then, yeah, he's coming into this fight with he looked dire in his last two fights, so especially in his last fight he looked awful. So basically he's done bad, yeah, in his last two fights. But then this is where I think Floyd jumps in here, because he shouted he didn't. The reason this fight hasn't happened before is because they could never quite agree terms, or the fact that Mayweather wasn't that interested in the fight. When Pacquiao was knocking out people left, right, and centre and having really good performances, Mayweather didn't want to know, because to Mayweather, his legacy of not losing to anyone in his era, he didn't want to lose to anyone in his era, and he said he wants to dominate boxing for about 15 years. So to lose to Pacquiao would be soul destroying for him, and he doesn't even want to think about that, so he doesn't want to take a chance on Pacquiao. However, Pacquiao has looked dire in his last two fights, and this is why he shouted out Pacquiao on Twitter. I think he said something on the lines of the world wants to see this fight and step up Punk, something like that. Now Floyd Mayweather, he's also, I think he's approaching his 35th birthday, so he's no longer a young guy either. However, he keeps himself in such good shape that he does look very young. He does look very young, and he's keeping his body in that good shape that I think he could carry on well into his late 30s and still be effective among the top level guys. Well, Mayweather's last couple of fights, he's had really good performances. He was looking good in the Victor Ortiz fight before, obviously the controversial knockdown. He was looking good in that fight, although maybe a bit ring rusty at the start. He grew into the fight as the fight went on. He grew into it, and he was up on the scorecards when he knocked out Victor Ortiz controversially. So then, what will happen in this fight is, I think this fight. Thing is, with Pacquiao, with his such bad performances, if this fight would have happened maybe a year or two ago, maybe people would have picked Pacquiao maybe for a knockout, and because people would only see him knocking out people left, right, and centre. People maybe only think that this might be this might happen to Mayweather as well. However, because Juan Manuel Marquez exposed him in the way he did in that fight, Floyd Mayweather is much better than Juan Manuel Marquez, and he's much better defensively, and Pacquiao couldn't land anything on Juan Manuel Marquez, so there's nothing there to make me think that Pacquiao could ever land on Mayweather. I mean, people struggle with it all the time. He's got one of the best defenses in boxing, probably the best defense in boxing at this time. Maybe not, or maybe not in the history, because there's people that have been much better, naming Pernell Whitaker for one. However, with his dominance around the sport and whatnot, I think this fight is gonna go long, and I think I think Mayweather probably will take it 12 rounds and get a unanimous decision, because no matter how much pressure Pacquiao puts on him, I don't think he'll be able to land. And Mayweather has got great stamina, and he's got great concentration, and and I can't see him taking any risk with Pacquiao. I can just see him fighting off the back foot, counter punching, and I think this is just going to be a one-way shutout. So that's my prediction for the Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Manny Pacquiao bout. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, and just a final shout out to all the guys at Barnsley College. Not Pandy P though, because he's a dickhead. So yeah, that's it. So you can all have your own views and whatever, but that's just mine.